Hello, everyone. So this is a lesson on the Qixi festival, which is known as Chinese Valentine's Day. It's held every year on the seventh day of the seventh month of the lunar calendar. So it's going to be different, obviously, from year to year. This year it's going to be on August 19th. And so I thought it might be fun just to do a short lesson with some vocabulary related to that and a few grammar points, short reading, and some questions, just to kind of make everyone familiar with this festival. It's not one that gets a lot of recognition. I mean, certainly people do recognize it. Western Valentine's Day on February 14th is much more marketable and is celebrated in China and Taiwan as well. But the Qixi Festival is still recognized as Chinese Valentine's Day. So what I'd like to do is just go through some vocabulary first, look at a couple of readings. Well, I've got it in pinyin, traditional characters, and simplified, and then some comprehension questions. And I'll just make this worksheet here available for people afterwards if you want to go back and rewatch this. So should be about maybe 10-minute lesson, 10-15 minute lesson. All right. So let's start out with vocabulary. Right? So I've got the simplified, traditional, and the pinyin here, and the English translation. And so these are just a few characters that are specifically related to this story. So we've got Niu Lang, Niu Lang, Niu Lang, the cowherd. So he's the male lead of the legend. We have Zhi Nu, Zhi Nu, the weaver girl, who's the female lead. She's also considered a goddess or a celestial being. Tianhe, Tianhe is the Milky Way. It's a Chinese word for the Milky Way, literally the heavenly river, but the Milky Way. Qi jie, Qi jie, Qi jie is a magpie, just that kind of bird. Qi jie. Qiao, Qiao means bridge. Qiao. Xiangyu, Xiangyu. Xiangyu means to meet, to reunite. Xiang means to be together. Yu means to meet up. So to reunite's a good word, right? To meet together again. Chuan shuo. Chuan shuo is a traditional tale. So chuan means tradition. Shuo is to speak. So it's a traditional oral tale. Fun kai. Fun kai means to separate. So to kai means to split or to open. Fun means to split. Mei nian. Mei nian means every year. So Mei is every, nian is year. It's very simple. We're going to see in the grammar point that Mei is just a word we can use anytime we want to say something about every year, every day, every minute, every person, everyone, every anything. All right. And then finally we have lang man, lang man. So lang man means romantic. And if you kind of hear the word romantic, lang man, lo man, right? People often say lo man ti ke in Chinese, just imitating the sound of the word romantic. And lang man is, I guess we could call it a loan word meaning that. So one more time, niu lang, zhi nu, tian he, xi jie, qiao, xiang yu, 传说、分开、每年、浪漫。One thing to note about the word nu and u is that the u sound, you see it with the u on nu, is that that one has an umlaut. U doesn't typically in pinyin take an umlaut, but when you see that sound, it's different than just an oo, right? It's an u. And the way I like to describe it is if you say oo, right? And then you shrink your mouth some, almost like you're drinking through a straw, and say it the exact same way, it'll come out the proper way. U, u. Okay. All right. So let's look at the pinyin. We'll just look at the pinyin and read through this. You can follow along in English translation here, and then we'll read it one more time, looking at the characters. So, Qixi jie. Jie is the word for holiday, for festival. So most holidays, festivals are something jie, something something jie. So 七夕节是一个很浪漫的传说。传说牛郎是一个农民，织女是天上的仙女。他们相爱了，可是天上的神不同意，把他们分开，让他们住在天河的两边。每年7月7日，很多喜鹊会飞到天河上，用身体做成一座桥。牛郎和织女就在这一天通过这座桥相遇。Okay, so the English translation of that is here. Qixi Festival is a very romantic legend. According to the legend, Niu Lang was a farmer and Zhinu was a fairy from heaven. They fell in love, but the gods in heaven didn't approve, so they separated them and made them live on opposite sides of the Milky Way. Every year on the seventh day of the seventh month, many magpies fly to the Milky Way and use their bodies to form a bridge. On this day, Niulang and Zhinu meet by crossing this bridge. So it's a bit of a Romeo and Juliet story, forbidden love, right? You have the human farmer boy and the celestial being, the girl, the goddess, and they fall in love, but the gods don't allow it. And so they forbid it, but then they relent a little bit and allow them to see each other one day every year. And this is on 7月7日, on the seventh, in the seventh month, on the seventh day. And then you have this great idea of these magpies flying to the Milky Way and creating a bridge so that Niulang and Zhinu can cross over and meet each other for that one day. So you'll see that we had this word 传说. 传说up here means a legend or a folk tale, right? But then we also have 传说 right here, and that's translated here as according to the legend. So this 传说 as a noun, meaning a folk tale or legend, can also serve as a verb or a phrasal verb, where 传说 is according to legend, as legend goes, right? So 传 then becomes the word legend, and 说 is like a tale, right? So here it's kind of mixed, meaning folk tale. Here it's according to legend. Okay. Another word that we had was 相爱. And so we saw the word 相遇, to reunite, right? 相爱 has the same 相, so 相 there means together or both at the same time, right? Reciprocation, reciprocal feeling. So 相爱, I meaning love, right? People often say, how do you say I love you in Chinese? It's 我爱你, 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 I love you. Very simple, right? So that I means love. Right? So those are just a few elements of the story that I think might be helpful. And so then if we go to the either the traditional or the simplified, it's kind of split over here. But we've got 七夕节是一个浪漫很浪漫的传说，传说牛郎是一个农民，织女是天上的仙女。Right? So we have Zhinu, that's her name, right? Tian Xiang is heavenly, right? So we've got the word Tian, which can mean day, it can mean sky. Here it means heaven, can mean a lot of things. And then Shang means up in, right? So Tian Shang means up in the heavens, right? And then Xian Nu, right? Xian Nu, interesting character, this character Xian, right? You've got the radical for a person, which is the word for person here, run, is like that. But when it's a radical part of a character, we write it like this. But then you have this second character here, which is mountain, right? And so if you think about, oh, where do spiritual celestial beings live? Well, they live in the mountains. So Xiannu is a celestial being. Um, 他们相爱了, right? So there's our word 相 again, right? Reciprocity, reciprocal. So they loved each other, basically. Very simple. 可是天上的神不同意. So again, we have this 天上, so the heavenly 神. So this is another word. We have 仙女 for like a goddess or a celestial being, but here Shun is more like a god or a deity of some sort. Again, when you think about like Greek mythology or any kind of cultural mythologies, Shun are those kinds of beings. There are multiple deities in most of the world's traditions. 他们不同意, so 同意 means to agree, so they disagreed with that. They rejected that idea. 把他们分开, 把他们分开. This ba doesn't really have much of a semantic meaning, but syntactically it serves to emphasize the thing that comes after it. So ba, the gods ba tamen funkai, so made them separated them. Right? 让他们住在天河的两边. Right? So they made them live on opposite sides, on the two sides of the Milky Way, right? So if we're on Earth and we look up and we see the Milky Way, if you live in a place where you can see it, that's awesome. But you can kind of see how people might think, oh, there's two sides of that, right? And this rang is a very interesting word. It's very difficult sometimes for Mandarin speakers, Chinese speakers, to negotiate this word when they're speaking English, because rang can mean both let and to make. So to make somebody do something is what the meaning is here. But it can also mean to let somebody do something, to allow somebody to do something. If you're driving in Taiwan or China or Hong Kong, for a yield sign, it actually has this character here, rang, so to allow, to yield, right? But here it means make. 每年7月7日, and so that's where we get Qixi, right? You've got the two sevens, double seven, right? So double number days on the lunar calendar are often important. Baba Jie, we just had August 8th. That is Baba Jie. And so Baba in Chinese is father. So that's going to be Father's Day, right? Taiwan celebrates a national holiday on October 10th, and that's called Qixi jie, 2 tens. So double 10 day. So 每年7月7日很多喜鹊会飞到天河上. So a lot of magpies will fly up to the Milky Way, 用绳体做成一座桥. Right? So 一座桥. So we saw 桥 here means bridge, right? And in Chinese, you may be aware there are measure words. So when you're counting things, we don't just say like we say one bridge in English, right? 3 pencils or something like that. There's always a measure word that's going to go with that noun. And so for things that are built, like a bridge, we have 座. So 一座桥. There's a general one that is 个, 一个桥, right? And so if you're ever in doubt and you can't remember what the actual measure word for the noun is that you're using, if you say 个, it's fine. It works. 牛郎和织女就在这一天通过这座桥相遇. So 牛郎 and 织女就在这一天 on this day 通过这座桥相遇. So this 就, I just wanted to point out this 就 means just. It's like to emphasize only, like only on this day. So sometimes it's translated as only, sometimes you translate it as just. So it's a kind of word that can mean work, does a lot of work, right? So it really depends. If you're going from Chinese to English and translating it, you just kind of have to think, okay, what's the word that I'd need in English here, right? So it may be Joe in a lot of different circumstances, whereas in English it might be variety of different words. So that's a simplified reading. We will go back. Let me just get rid of those so they don't follow us down the page. All right, so I mentioned a couple grammar points. One of those is may, right? So the word may means every, right? So this uses 每年. Where else did we have may? We had 每年, right? So every year, 每天. So it just basically means every. So we have 每年, every year, 每天, every day, 每个星期, 每个星期. So 星期 here is week, and this is the the uh, measure word that I mentioned. So week doesn't necessarily have its own measure word, so we just use 每个月, every month, right? We can also have 每个人, right? Which is every person, right? So may is very, very useful. Anytime you want to use the word every, you can just throw the word may in there, right? So from the story 每年7月7日, right? So every year on July 7th, 牛郎 and 织女 meet. So you can say something like 我每天学中文, 我每天学中文, right? So I study Chinese every day, right? 他每个星期打电话给妈妈. 他每个星期打电话给妈妈. So here, one thing that I think you want to notice is that 每天, these are time words. And so with Chinese grammar, when you have a time word, that's going to go after your subject, right? Before your verb or your object, right? So he, subject, right? Every week, it's your time word. 打电话, so calls, mama, so 打电话给 mama, right? 每天学中文, there's your verb, there's your object, right? So 他每天学中文. So your time word's almost always going to go right after your subject, right? No matter what the word, not just with may, with every time word. Okay. All right. So a few comprehension questions, and then just kind of leave these for you. 牛郎是做什么的？牛郎是做什么的？ So what did Niulang do for a living? So just a quick answer. Give you a second if you think about it. Niulang was a farmer. 他是一个农民。织女是谁? So who is 织女? So this one is asking what Niulang does. This is asking who 织女 was. Right? 织女 is 她是一个贤女，天上的贤女。为什么牛郎和织女分开了? And so this is the thrust of the story, right? 为什么牛郎和织女分开了? Right? 他们分开了，因为那个天上的神不同意他们的相爱。Right? 他们有相爱了, right? They fell in love. But 天上的神不同意. So the gods didn't approve of this, right? They didn't approve of Jirnu having a lover, having a partner that was just a human, right? And maybe also just a farmer. 喜鹊在七夕节做什么? Right? So what do the magpies make? What do they do on Qixi festival? Right? 他们做了一座桥。他们做了一座桥，可以跨天河。Right? So 跨 means to cross. So they create a bridge so that Niulang and Junu can meet each other. Okay, so that's basically the lesson. That's Qixi jie in Chinese. Valentine's Day. So maybe on August 19th, if you remember, you can walk up to somebody and maybe somebody you like, maybe a partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, and just say Qixi jie 快乐. Happy Valentine's Day. Qixi jie 快乐. So thanks, everybody. I will do some more of these in the future. If you want to join, that's great. I'll put this in a link below, and you can download it. And again, contact me if you have any questions. And let's keep learning Chinese.